Is Changli a main DPS or a sub DPS? She has high damage scalings, but she also has an outro that's meant for support. Hello everyone, my name is Chin Valdez, and today we're gonna be talking about a pretty controversial topic within the Wuthering Waves community, Changli's role on a team. So it's been long known to the community that Changli has pretty high damage scaling. So her kit has been leaked a while back ago, but we also gained access to Changli during the recent 1.1 story quest. So during the story quest, we were actually able to use her in combat, and players would then find out that her actual combat rotations take a lot of time on the field, which would then support the idea that Changli is a main DPS. A lot of her damage scalings are pretty high considering she is a Gen 2 character alongside Jin Shi. But she does have an outro that buffs the next character that she swaps into, which suggests that she is a sub DPS. So which is it? Is she a main DPS or a sub DPS? So I want to start with her forte circuit, the Flaming Sacrifice, where a large chunk of her damage will be coming from. So at level 10, it does 39.25% times 5 plus 457.85% of your attack as damage, or 653.25%. But you will be using Flaming Sacrifice 2 times in Changli's rotation. And with that, you will actually be getting a total of 1,306% of her attack as damage per rotation from just her Flaming Sacrifice or her Forte circuit. Next, we have Radiance of Fealty, her Resonance Liberation, in which at level 10 deals 1,212% damage. And finally, we have Tripartite Flames, her Resonance skill, which has 3 parts. So we have True Sight Capture, which is your E skill that deals 409% of your attack as damage. We have True Sight Conquest at 295%, which is your True Sight attack on the ground. And you also have True Sight Charge at 182%, which is your True Sight attack in the air. So you will be able to use True Sight Capture 2 times per rotation, and you will be able to use True Sight Conquest 3 times per rotation. So in a perfect scenario where you're able to pull up every single part of your Tripartite Flames, it should be more or less 1,885% in your rotation. So majority of Changli's damage will be coming from these 3. Again, it's gonna be your Forte Circuit Flaming Sacrifice, Resonance Liberation Radiance of Fealty, and your Resonance skill Tripartite Flames. So with all of these things said, everyone knows that Changli does deal a lot of damage, but she does have this outro skill that's usually meant for sub DPSs. So what's going on here? So basically what she does is she gives out 20% fusion damage amplify and 25% resonance liberation damage amplify. Pretty much the same as Yinlin's outro skill, but Changli's outro skill only lasts for 10 seconds. So the way outro skills in Wuthering Waves works is this deepen buffs or the amplification buffs are applied at the end of damage formulas or damage computation. So it's a final damage modifier. So basically what you're getting is a 45% final damage amplification on your next resonator's liberation damage. We get a 1.45 multiplier here with this outro. Now regarding Changli's actual role, we'll have to consider who would be Changli's potential teammates. So if we're looking at a hyper carry Changli, right off the bat, we would want someone like Verena, because Verena is the only one who can do Verena things. But of course, Baiji is still Verena light, but the actual time it takes for Baiji to get her job done is way longer than what Verena does. But if you don't have Verena, of course, you can still go for Baiji. Now we would want someone either as a sub DPS or another buffer for Changli. So with that, the characters that come to thought are Janshin, Yinlin, Mortifi, Taochi, maybe even Spectro Rover. Or on the sub DPS role, or what you would maybe call a double DPS role, you would have Chixia or Encore. And with that, I'm personally gonna be running a hyper carry Changli team. So this is gonna be Changli, Verena, and Tauchi. But I do want to cover how much damage will Chixia be dealing on a Changli double DPS team. Because Wuthering Waves players often tend to overlook the damage that some of these characters can do. And Chixia is actually respectable enough to be one of Changli's partners on a double DPS team. So at level 10, Chixia's Resonance Liberation Blazing Flames deals 954% of her attack plus 57.84% times 11, which is a total of 1,590%. Chixia's Forte Circuit Heroic Bullets deals 19.89% per thermobaric bullet and 437% boom boom damage. So if you were to use Chixia's Forte Circuit to her full potential, normally you would fire out 30 of the thermobaric bullets. So you just multiply this by 30 and then you add the final damage, which is 437%, which is about 1,033%. But for Chixia's entire Forte Circuit bar, you can actually use it twice. So for her entire Forte Circuit bar, you would be dealing 2,067% attack as damage. And also, if you have Chixia's Sequence 4, using her Resonance Liberation grants her another 60 thermobaric bullets, which allows you to do her Forte Circuit 2 more times. So a total of 4 times, which then gives you a total of 4,134% of her attack as damage, all coming from her Forte Circuit. But of course, you're not always gonna be able to maximize our Forte Circuit. Enemies and Wuthering Waves are always moving and are always going to be attacking you. And there will be very, very minimal openings where you will be able to maximize her entire Forte Circuit. Which brings us to Chixia's Dodge Counter Attack damage. So at level 10, she actually deals 339.97% of her attack as damage. So this is often overlooked, but this actually deals a lot of damage as long as enemies are attacking you. You're gonna be dealing and spamming this 340% of attack as damage. So here in Phasers Changli team damage calcs, Chixia's damage is 8% off from Changli's damage in her team. But this is considering that Changli is using her signature weapon and Chixia was only using one of the 4-star weapons. So even with these rotations, Chixia, a 4-star character, is dealing considerable amount of damage and maybe even comparable to Changli's. So I hope this clears up the confusions about Changli being a main DPS or a sub DPS. So she can very much be either main DPS or sub DPS. She will perform very, very well whether as a main DPS or a sub DPS. Now whether she will be meta or not remains to be seen until we finally have her in game, where we'll have to wait for our theory crafter friends to come up with new data about Changli. So regardless of what her strongest teams are gonna be, I am personally gonna be running her on a hyper carry main DPS team because waifu over meta. If you enjoy the content, consider liking and subscribing. I do stream every day on twitch.tv/ChinValdez. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out on our new videos. Hope to see you all on the next one.